Hi guys, welcome back. Today we will be having relevant costing applied to make or buy decisions. What is a make or buy decision? A make or buy decision is a decision of whether to manufacture a component in-house or purchase it outside. That is, if we are a manufacturing company, are we going to produce the parts that we need or simply buy them from a supplier? This can also be applied to services. Have an in-house service or outsource it. This is especially true for services like accounting, customer support, etc. When it comes to make or buy decisions, we would compare costs between both options, the cost of making and the cost of buying. We are going to look at the cost that disappears when we choose one alternative over the other. We refer to this cost as avoidable costs. In the make option, avoidable costs are those that can be prevented from incurring if we stop making. There is an opportunity cost when it comes to making, considering that the make option would consume factory space. Such could have been used for something else, like renting it out. The foregone income from such alternative use is an opportunity cost of making. Meanwhile, in the buy option, it is usually the purchase price and the related costs that can disappear if we are going to stop buying. We are to compare the relevant costs between the two options, and we are going to favor the option with the lowest cost. What are the avoidable costs when it comes to the make option? We have to make an assumption. If the case is silent, the avoidable cost of making is the variable manufacturing cost. Why? Well, basically, if we are going to stop making, what will be prevented from incurring would be the direct materials, the direct labor, and the variable manufacturing overhead. What about the fixed manufacturing overhead? The presumption when the case is silent, they are going to continue. They will continuously be incurred, whether we make or buy. Again, we are going to compare the costs of both making and buying and favor the option with the lowest possible cost. Let us refer to the following sample case. DBT Company, a manufacturer of appliances, is currently producing all of the plugs for its appliances with the following unit cost. Direct materials, 5 pesos. Direct labor, 10 pesos. Variable overhead, 3 pesos. Fixed overhead, 12 pesos. This year, 1,000 plugs are expected to be needed. SPT, one of DBT's reliable suppliers, offers to deliver ready-made plugs at a cost of 22 pesos. If DBT has no alternative use of the capacity to produce plugs, is it advisable to buy the plugs from SPT instead of making? In this case, we are going to compare the relevant cost of making versus the relevant cost of buying. Let's start with the make option. Relevant cost of making would include the avoidable cost of making. Presumably, this would consist only of the variable manufacturing cost, considering the case is silent. Direct materials is 5, direct labor 10, variable overhead 3, for a total of 18. 18 pesos unit cost times 1,000 units in 1 year. The avoidable cost of making is 18,000 pesos. There is no alternative use of the capacity and hence no opportunity cost. the total relevant cost is 18,000 for the make option. Now, if DBT buys, the purchase price would be at 22 times 1,000 units. That would be 22,000 pesos. The relevant cost of buying is now 22,000 pesos. If we will compare the make and buy option, we note that the make option has the lowest cost. It is cheaper to make by 4,000 pesos. This is how we analyze make versus buy type of decision. Hence, it would be better to make the part. At this point, you might be wondering, why are we considering only the avoidable costs? Actually, we can consider the total cost. Say for example, in the make option, in the same case, the total cost would be 18,000 plus 12 times 1,000. This is the fixed overhead. We would have a total cost of 30,000 under the make option. Now, considering that the 12,000 fixed overhead is presumed to be unavoidable, when we are going to buy, we still have to incur that 12,000. So, 22,000, the cost of purchasing the components, plus 12,000, the fixed overhead, which will still be incurred, we will have a total of 34,000 pesos. At this point, we would see that the difference is still 4,000 pesos and it still favors the make option. Hence, when it comes to analyzing the make versus buy option, it would be better if we focus on the avoidable cost only. In order to simplify our analysis and eliminate the unnecessary details, we should focus only on those that can be avoided under each option. If we make, these are the costs that we are going to incur that can be avoided. If we buy, these are the costs that we are going to incur that can be avoided. Compare the two. Second scenario, if DBT can rent out the capacity to make plugs to outsiders for a yearly fee of 5,000 pesos, is it advisable to buy from SPT instead? Again, let us do the same type of analysis. If we make, the avoidable cost is 18,000 pesos. This is the variable manufacturing cost. There would be an opportunity cost in making this time. Considering making consumes the space in the factory, which could be rented out when we stop making, the make option is incurring an opportunity cost of 5,000 pesos. Hence, the total relevant cost would be 23,000 for the make option. For the buy option, we still have the same data. The purchase price is 22, 1,000 units, that's 22,000 pesos. This time, it would be cheaper to buy by 1,000 pesos. Hence, the recommendation that we should give to management is to buy rather than make. Third scenario, if DBT has no alternative use of the capacity and half of the fixed overhead is avoidable, what is the maximum price? Considering that in a make or buy option, we are a potential buyer. As potential buyers, we want to put a cap on the price that we have to pay. Unlike in special order decisions, where we are a potential seller, we want the price to be as high as possible there. In the make or buy type of decision, we want to put a cap on how much we're willing to pay for the component. As for the maximum price, we are going to see to it that the price that we are going to pay shall not be higher than the cost of making. For this scenario, the cost to make would be 18,000 plus half of 12,000, that's 6,000 pesos. Avoidable cost of making, 24,000 pesos. there will be no opportunity cost, considering in this scenario, there is no alternative use of the capacity. The relevant cost is 24,000 for the make option. In setting the maximum price, we do not want our buy option to have a higher relevant cost. At most, we would want it to be 24,000 pesos. Zero difference. The relevant cost of buying should also be 24,000 pesos at most. So the avoidable cost of buying should be 24,000 pesos. Considering there are 1,000 units, the maximum price is 24 pesos. This is how we do the analysis for a make or buy option. In the next video, we are going to talk about sell or process further type of decisions. When we are able to produce a product, are we going to sell it immediately? What if there's an option of upgrading it? Are we going to upgrade before selling it? This is a sell or process further type of decision. Like, share, and subscribe.